careful, I'll run for something. Good evening, all. The presentation that you've just seen, we hope, defines for you who did not already know that the heroism that we celebrate is not that of those who, at their risk and sometimes with the sacrifice of their own lives, brave shot and shell, fire and flood to go to the aid of their fellow humans. The heroism that we recognize here is a subtler but equally important quality that saves not only individual lives, but entire communities, and in its extension, perhaps saves humanity itself. That's our story. That is our cause. And incidentally, the tape that you have just seen is, we sincerely hope, but a trailer for a regular television program that Stone Soup hopes to produce in the not-too-distant future to extol each week the heroism of an individual at home or overseas who by his or her actions have lifted their neighbors and their community and thus set an example that will lift mankind. And so, welcome to our singing lesson this evening. It's the hope of all those dedicated to the lofty ideas of Stone Soup for the world, that we can teach the world to raise a paean of praise for those up to now unsung heroes in our midst. The heroes of which we sing are in our midst indeed, sharing our community. They are otherwise ordinary folks who do ordinary things, but seem to do them above and beyond the call of duty. They, in reality, are more than sharing our community. They are indeed making our community work. Without them, this beautiful island would be a dreary desert indeed, devoid of the human touches that invest it with the wonderful life we know. And here so soon, I'm afraid I've got to digress for just a moment. As I contemplated the remarks that I would make here tonight, it never occurred to me that this organization would extend to me the great honor of being named a Stone Soup Hero for Edgartown. I'm honored, but I'm embarrassed too, because there are so much more qualified than I. Being honored for my interest in Sale Martha's Vineyard is kind of like being given a box of candy for having eaten a box of candy. Sale Martha's Vineyard and its accomplishments, without any help from me at all, have been nothing but a source of joy to a lot of us. I already had been honored by merely the opportunity to participate in my very small way in the success of that idea, conceived and brought to life by a real community hero, the late Nancy Haskell. In a very real sense, I'm representative of only that seasonal resident who takes more than a casual interest in the welfare of this wonderful place and the welfare of its year-round population. Incidentally, someone suggested once that I was the epitome of that old saying that if you see the island for the first time from the water, you'll fall in love with it. Well, I'm sure that we all, being intelligent folks, recognize the spin in that little statement. And really, it says that everyone who comes here will fall in love with Martha's Island, my vineyard. After all, the vineyard is an island. And when that saying was originally concocted, everyone who came to the vineyard saw it for the first time from the water. But the saying applies today. At least you have to see the island for the first time from over the water, if not on it. Personally, I like it the other way, seeing it on for the first time. As I ran through the names of those who have been nominated as Vineyard Heroes, I recognized those neighbors of ours who are the salt of the earth, who make our vineyard the very special place that it is. The secret to their greatness is the secret of stone soup. By their examples, they pass along inspiration to all of us. Their sacrifice of time and labor to help their neighbor and their neighborhood challenge us to respond in kind. This is Stone Soup's magic ingredient. While the island is grateful for the generous financial support that comes from so many of our residents, including the summer visitors, these would be hollow without the fact that they, too, understand the nature of community of this magic island. Martha's Vineyard is a small island with a strong sense of community spirit. People help each other out. They help rebuild their neighbors' homes after fires or hurricanes. They care for the elderly. They tend the ill. They mind the next-door children. The pace of modern life has taken its toll of our sense of community. Community is indeed becoming an endangered species. There are forces pulling us apart, insulating us and separating us. The telephone and the internet serve to bring us together, but they are a poor substitute for human contact. They are a substitute for the experience of neighborliness, an experience that validates the life of the vineyard. And it is the experience that brings out the heroic among our citizens, as found in everyday life and is celebrated by the Stone Soup movement. It's the belief of Marion Larned and the other pioneers in the Stone Soup movement that from these little acorns of community heroism, huge oaks of international heroism will grow. Heroism is a manifestation of courage to do the right thing, the necessary thing where need is evident, but action seems to be absent. Somewhere out there are the heroes who will muster the political courage to put aside the selfish interest of nations and finally put together a meaningful and lasting peace for which the world population yearns. And others in positions of power need the courage to set aside their own interests in the interest of the greater good, taking a lesson indeed from the community heroes that we celebrate here tonight. We're living through a technological revolution. New technologies give proof of the human being's intellectual capacity, the ability to attack and solve the most perplexing of problems. Can we really believe that we are incapable of applying that same intellectual power to solving the great problems of the world, the great problems we face of overpopulation, pollution, and poverty, chief among them? Can we believe that the beleaguered peoples of the world will long be tolerant of those who possess the tools, but who can't make them work for the good of humankind everywhere? Or worse, perhaps, won't make them work because there's too little profit in it. Unless the desperate need of these global neighbors of ours are addressed, there's going to be social and political and economic evolution which will explode with such suddenness and violence as to have the character of revolution. The revolutionary forces are already at work today, and they have humankind's dreams on their side. We don't want to be on the other side. It's up to us to assume leadership of that revolution, to channel it in a direction that will ensure freedom's future. Thus, we feed the world with our Stone Soup. If there is anything that this country needs today, it's to sing of our community heroes who, by their example, lift up the spirit of all of our people. They, by their very simple community leadership, elevate the true values of humankind and put to shame the false values so indecently publicized that simultaneously exalt and trivialize our economy, our society. It is the constant of their values, displayed in their heroism and inspiring to us all, that gives promise of the glory stories of tomorrow. That constant is the spirit of the human experience, the spirit of the American experience, the spirit of the neighborhood experience, for humans will be nothing if they are not their brothers and their sisters' keepers. These lessons have come to us as part of our precious cultural heritage. They live through such efforts as those here tonight perpetuate. Honor to this organization, Stone Soup for the World, and honor to the heroes it glorifies. Thank you.